Hello and welcome to Plant CEO. In today's episode, I'd like to welcome my guest, Tom Watkins, co-founder of Mighty Pea. Hey Tom, how you doing?
Hello, Anant. Yeah, I'm very well, thank you. I'm very well. How are you?
Yeah, all good, all good. Enjoying this period in a way, but also challenging at the same time, but doing well, thanks.
Absolutely. It's been really strange, hasn't it? I think it's kind of become the new normal now. They're working from home, and I think what we're 10 weeks in now. So yeah, it's been interesting, definitely.
Yeah, totally. I think for me, it's being able to do these episodes are actually quite, in a way, it's a little bit easier and accessible now, compared to having like a film crew doing the face to face. And I think it becomes quite normal to see, video interviews like this. So yeah, it's actually quite good to get more content out in a way.
And you get to see everyone's home offices as well.
Yeah, exactly.
So, yeah,
So yeah, great. So thanks for coming on the show. And can you tell me the story behind creating a pea milk company?
Absolutely, absolutely. So we started Mighty Pea. It feels like a long time ago now, but really we've only been in stores for about a year. And really the whole thing began with me and my brother Nick Watkins, my older brother. We tried a pea milk from America. We're both dairy alternative drinkers, so we've tried everything: oat, almond, coconut, hemp, you name it. We've tried drinking it, and we in America we tried a pea milk called a Ripple. And we were really intrigued, to be honest with you. You say pea milk to someone, they kind of go, "Is it green? Does it taste like peas? What is that?" There kind of is an intrigue. And so we tried this pea milk, and we were blown away. It was absolutely fantastic. It was absolutely brilliant. Had all these amazing claims to it, which a lot of plant milks don't. It was high in protein. It was high in calcium. There was a low sugar or zero sugar version. It was absolutely brilliant. So we tried it and we thought, my God, there's nothing like this here in the UK. We better get onto this. So we actually reached out to Ripple
Yeah.
many moons ago now. We actually reached out to them and said, look, we distribute and sell products here in the UK. Can we do it for you guys? And basically, we just never heard back.
Oh, right, okay. So your loss was well, their loss was your gain.
Exactly that,
Yeah.
exactly that. So I'm extremely thankful now that we didn't hear back, to be honest with you. But obviously at the time we were like, oh no, we really love that. And then we kind of had the idea of, well, me and Nick, because we operate in the food and drink space anyway, we always thought, well, maybe we can be the ones to do this. Maybe we can have a stab at making pea milk. So we got some yellow split peas, and we began in Nick's kitchen to try and put our own pea milk together. And we quickly learned that it's not very easy to make a pea milk, and that we can't just make it in Nick's kitchen either. Yeah, so that's how it all began. We tried Ripple pea milk from the USA, kind of fell in love with it. We thought, why is there nothing like this here in the UK? And here we kind of are 12, 18 months later. And we're kind of in 3,000 stores. You can get us in places like Sainsbury's and M&S. So yeah, it's been a wild ride.
Yeah, awesome. And is Ripple here in the UK now?
No, so Ripple's still not here in the UK. I guess those guys are kind of busy with the USA. It's obviously a huge
Yeah,
yeah, geography. I think you have to kind of, when you're selling food and drink in there, do it by state, and
exactly.
it's a really big operation. So no, we've fortunately been able to kind of get ahead of that curve and kind of become the leading pea milk here in the UK.
That's awesome. And so you mentioned that you were distributing products prior to creating Mighty Pea. What were you distributing at the time?
Absolutely everything. We were doing absolutely everything from ice cubes to coffee to pet toys, you name it. Me and Nick worked with many different companies, and we towards the end of that we had a company called NAMS, and we operated in lots of different spaces. And our job basically was working with big manufacturers or small startups and helping them get into major supermarkets here in the UK, essentially. So we were the guys who'd go get shouted at by the supplier, and then we'd go get shouted at by the buyer. And eventually we kind of thought, well, we've done this for a lot of people now. We've had a lot of success at it. We've got a lot of people listings, but what's our idea going to be? What are we going to do? And we turned around to everyone and said, look, we're going to start selling pea milk into supermarkets here. And they were like, that's the stupidest thing I've ever heard. Why are you going to do that?
Yeah.
You know, because at first pea milk, it's niche, it's new, it's controversial. It's not an obvious choice, but you know, once people taste it, once people see the benefits of it, you know, slowly but surely we're kind of winning people around.
Yeah, and you also you and Nick both come from a retail background. How's that experience helped you? I guess it's helped you already a lot with your distribution business, but also when you were working at those companies.
Oh, it's been probably the number one selling point to me and Nick, and I think it's why we've been able to have, you know, with a little bit of luck and also kind of what we already knew about this sector, been able to operate quite quickly. I mean, Nick was a buyer for Asda, so he was already well versed in the world of buying.
Right. So it's good to have that mentality, isn't it? Because they suddenly become your end customers.
Absolutely. Nick, when it comes to who really leads our sales, Nick is, you know, he will find out a buyer's address, turn up at their house and say, look,
it's a bit creepy.
You've not responded to my last 10 emails. Where are you? We need to talk. But that's exactly what you need.
You kind of need that, don't you? To also have a point of difference from everybody else who's in a way pitching them.
Absolutely. I mean, buyers have, you know, 100 emails a week, a day come in about new brands, new products. So to stand out and get their time is really not easy. I'm sure most startups would probably agree with that, I think.
Yeah. And your experience, I think you were at, was it Cadbury's?
I was at Cadbury's at the time, so down in Uxbridge in London.
Okay.
So worked at Cadbury's. Oh, okay, fantastic. Yeah. You know the area then. Yeah, so I worked at supplier side for Cadbury's for a while. So I was the good guy, and Nick worked buyer side, so he was the bad guy. And eventually kind of got the call one day from Nick about coming to work with him, and thought, why not? You know, it sounds interesting to do something ourselves. We've got the experience. Let's have a go.
Yeah, totally. So what was the main reason, other than sort of seeing the success of the brand in the US, what was the main reason that you wanted to use peas?
Yeah, absolutely. It's one of the most important questions. Why yellow split peas? And there's a few different reasons. Firstly, I suppose number one, the nutritional aspect of that. Most plant milks have next to no protein in them, which obviously, if you're making a dairy equivalent, is kind of strange. Whereas yellow split peas have as much protein as cow's milk, so immediately there's an obvious kind of comparison to be made there.
Yeah. What is that quantity of protein? Like, say in a 100 mil, for example.
So 100 mil, I think, would be 3.2 grams of protein.
Oh, okay.
You can tell after.
what mils do you normally have on the labels? Is it 30?
Yes, we're normally doing like 100 mil, but if I suppose an easy way to think about it is a glass of dairy milk would have about 8 grams of protein in it, and a glass of Mighty Pea milk has 8 grams of protein in it. So
that's a good amount. Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
And the big other point behind why yellow split peas, and probably something really important for both myself and Nick, was the sustainability side of things. You know, over the last 5-6 years, everyone's seen how much packaging, plastic, sustainability has come to the forefront of everything major supermarkets are doing. It was important for us as well to make sure whatever product that we went forward with ticked those boxes. You have things like soy milk, which has huge deforestation issues. You've got things like almond milk, but again, there's been a lot of controversy around almonds at the minute. You know, the water usage to farm almonds versus yellow split peas, it takes 100 times more water, which is baffling. Not to mention the impact they have on the bee industry. And dairy milk takes 25 times more water as well. So yellow split peas are a bit of a super ingredient, to be honest with you, when it comes to sustainability. They take very little water, very little irrigation, super high in nutrition. So once we kind of uncovered all this and thought, okay, so we can make a milk out of it, it ticks the nutrition box, it ticks the sustainability box. You know, let's do it. Let's start making pea milk.
Yeah. And what other, are you adding any other, are you fortifying it with anything else?
Yeah, absolutely. So we kind of, when we first started this, and that's a really great question, you know, you're seeing a lot of plant milks who only put things like 3 ingredients in. And of course they have their place within the category. But to us, if we were going to make a dairy equivalent, it needed to be a dairy equivalent. So we fortify it with calcium, with vitamin D, with vitamin B12, and even with iodine as well.
Yeah.
And the iodine is really important. It's not something that many plant milks do at all, but we work with a lot of pediatricians and nutritionists who obviously there's a lot of children out there with cow's milk protein allergies, with soy allergies. And one of the biggest issues is that plant milks don't match up to cow's milk for younger children, for 2 years and onwards, for toddlers, for young kids. So for us, it was very important that we did fortify, and that we actually have twice the calcium of cow's milk. We're high in vitamin D, B12, and we contain iodine, which I think is why we've kind of gained so much popularity among parents with children with cow's milk protein allergies, with soy allergies, with nut allergies. Yeah,
exactly. I think there is a linkage. Like if you're allergic to dairy, you're going to be allergic to soya milk, a high percentage. From what I learned from one of my interviews with a yogurt brand called Little Bandits. So she developed it with allergies in mind too. So yeah, I can see there's huge benefits, especially if you're bringing up children who are sort of vegan and plant-based, and you have to find that alternative, especially with girls' developments for iodine levels. It's quite good to have high counts for that.
Absolutely. No, absolutely it is, yeah.
So thinking then about your customers, actually, are you finding a lot of parents buying it for their children? Who is your customer base?
Yeah, absolutely. We do a lot of work at this. We look into this kind of constantly, because at first we're kind of thinking, well, who is it that's going to be? We had ideas, but we didn't know, who's picking up pea milk. Primarily, our customer base is around 70% female. They're under the age of 45 typically, and we probably see it split into two main brackets. It's a younger demographic. It's Gen Z, Y, millennials, and it's parents with children at home. The data really shows those are the two main brackets currently picking it up. There is a third one, which is called on-trend foodies, and basically, I was interested by that title as well. And then the data. But basically, that's people who are just really interested in new products, new niche ideas, and are kind of the early adopters. When we first tried pea milk, obviously it was, I guess, word of mouth is really important with stuff like this, and we saw a lot of people really interested to make recipes with it, or smoothies, or whatever it might be. So those are probably three main brackets of customer.
And how are you marketing to those three main groups at the moment?
So, yeah, it's a good question at the moment. We started the year off. We got our store, like our tour kind of set up. We had everything to go about the country, and we started January, February doing that, and then obviously Corona hit, and that kind of stopped everything in its tracks really. But I think as a challenger brand, you've got to be quick, you've got to be nimble. So it's very much been about, let's jump online. We need to be pushing our adverts online. There was an interesting period in time, really. I say interesting, a strange period, where there was huge panic buying, and suddenly we saw our rate of sale, was going 400% up in a single week, and we were just trying to keep stock on shelf. And then it's been interesting because consumer shopping patterns have changed, and actually now people are shopping, typically reverting back to a one big shop a week. So it's been really interesting. But with regards to the marketing, hopefully the world will start to normalize a little bit now, and we've got a bunch of different shows planned in for the end of this year. We've been fortunate to have a lot of good investors come on this year, so we've got a lot planned when it comes to marketing and hopefully how we're going to be getting out there when the world's back to normal.
Right. So can you tell me about your current product range? You've got a few iterations at the moment.
Yeah, absolutely. So we started with our two core variants, which is our original pea milk and our unsweetened pea milk, and we typically see that people are going for one or the other, so a completely sugar-free version and a completely original version. And as I say, those two core variants are typically the archetypal Mighty Pea milk that's designed to match dairy. So everything we do in those two lines is supposed to be a plant-based equivalent that matches cow's milk. So from the high protein, the high calcium, the high vitamin D, B12, iodine, everything is designed to mix with to match dairy. So the next, and then from there it's kind of like, well, where do we start going from here? Who is our demographic? Who's buying pea milk? And we launched a few more SKUs this year, just before COVID-19 struck the world. We launched our products, which was good timing. And we launched a barista version because you have plant milk plant milk drinkers, I mean, why do people use cow's milk? It's a few different reasons. Some for the nutrition. A lot of people use it in cups of tea and coffee. You know, we're a nation of tea drinkers. So we launched a barista version. So our Mighty Pea barista, which is a blend of pea and oat. You know, it took us a long time to get it right. A lot of frustration with making sure that the acidity is right for coffee and it doesn't split, which is something a lot of plant milks do. But eventually we got our barista right. Kind of the archetypal.
It froths up to some degree. Yeah.
You can make really cool, hip latte art and foam much cooler than I can make. If you know, the baristas can do. And I suppose the archetypal trendsetter for that kind of paved the way was obviously Oatly Barista, which is a brilliant product. You know, I know there's been some availability issues with that, and I know that more and more brands are coming into a barista variant, because you kind of have we have a different split certainly between who's shopping our core range and who's shopping our barista range. It's a slightly different audience. So that was a really important one for us to try and get right, and we're really happy with the barista one. And we'll be at the London Coffee Show with it, having those cool hipsters doing latte art that I can't do.
Yeah.
Next year now, actually, it's been rescheduled.
Okay.
And then we've also got our 330ml range. So we made a ready-to-drink range, and we've got a chocolate and a banana and a nice latte. So kind of a grab and go, 11 grams of protein. Kind of hangs in between, you know, being a full protein shake and a good like snack after the gym or whatever it might be. And it's really popular with children as well. So we've kind of expanded the range out, you know, fairly rapidly. And you can, I don't know how many places you can get them in now off the top of my head, but I know we're on the 330ml ranges in Sainsbury's, the baristas in Sainsbury's now, and there's lots more places coming as well.
Yeah, I think I think it's really important to like diversify your range, but still have your core products that you're innovating on. You've gone through a number of different like taste variants, and is that like a continual process for you?
Absolutely. We're always looking to kind of improve our recipe and keep making it better and better. And kind of where we got from the very first recipe we made to where we are now, you know, we've taken huge leaps and strides. We're going to continue to work on our recipe, and we've got, in fact, some updated recipes going to be coming out very, very shortly, probably over the next few months. So we're always kind of looking at what tweaks can we make, what improvements can we make. Using pea is obviously quite a tricky thing to do. It's not easy to make a pea milk in your kitchen and get it tasting fantastic. But you know, pea protein, those kind of ingredients have come a long way in the last 5 years. I mean, everyone, especially a lot of vegan brands, are using pea protein. It's in plant-based meats. It's in lots of different things now. So fortunately, that ingredient's come on leaps and bounds, and we're always looking to make ours more and more neutral, our pea protein. And yeah, as I say, where we are from when we first started our recipes to where we are, especially on the latest iteration coming up, it's a huge difference. In fact, the latest recipes we're going to be launching in a few months' time. I know a lot of plant milk brands say this, but it tastes a lot closer to dairy than anything we've tried before. So it's going to be really interesting to see what people think.
That's awesome. Look forward to trying that. I remember I was an early adopter, so I'm gonna with your brand. So I'm gonna try the new one when it comes out.
Absolutely, we'll get some sent over to you, and hopefully we can get two thumbs up from yourself.
Yeah, awesome. Thanks. One of the reasons I think that Oatly Barista was very well received is that they really started with the coffee shops and handing it over to the baristas and getting them quite involved, and then it was out from Sweden, and it sort of had a big sort of word of mouth following, and now it's they're going pretty much global and multiple markets. Do you find so you're doing the coffee show, but do you also have a strategy to speak to sort of local coffee shops in order to get that momentum as well?
Absolutely. I mean, that's before Corona struck, we'd sent out hundreds of different boxes to different coffee shops. Unfortunately, they had to then close down quickly afterwards, which has been a bit tricky. But you're exactly right. I mean, Oatly is the archetypal barista product. There's no denying that. Those guys have done an absolutely fantastic job. And whilst oat milk is top of the tree right now as far as baristas go, we're very much hoping and planning over the next couple of years to start to introduce pea more and more into into coffees and teas, and often people at first can be a bit, well, what will this pea milk barista taste like in my tea or my coffee? But then they try it and they go, actually, yeah, that's really good. And you're exactly right. With them, it kind of does start in the coffee shops. Typically, that is where the early kind of adopters do begin with it. And obviously, as you can imagine, we are seeing some success in moving in there. Hopefully, when coffee shops open again, we can kind of restart that push with our barista too.
Yeah, that sounds good. So you're pre-Series A at the moment. How much investment have you actually received so far?
Yeah, absolutely. So in raising investment feels a bit like our second job, to be honest with you.
Yeah, it's your job.
yeah, it's non-stop, and that's something we massively underestimated when we started this. Is how much time and attention has to be given to raising funds. I think what we're up to now. I think we've raised over $1 million to date. Which we've obviously just invested all back into the business, from marketing, branding, production, hiring staff, absolutely everything that you can imagine. So we raised about $1 million to date, and we're as you rightly pointed out, we're prior to our Series A. So we've not done that yet. We're looking to probably get our Series A completed towards the end of the year. And in the meantime, we've taken on a bridging round, and we've also engaged with the government's future fund as well, to help with that, which has been a real lifeline. It's been absolutely fantastic to see the government kind of stepping in and willing to help companies such as ours. So that's been great.
Yeah. Do you see yourself entering any other new markets with that investment, I guess?
Absolutely. It's going to be one of the main things we use it for. We've over the last 3-4 months tied up about 12 different distribution deals in other countries, which has been really encouraging to see. Every other day we're getting approached by a different country. I mean, yesterday I think a Taiwanese exporter got in touch with us. We're doing really well in Dubai, Ireland as well. We're starting to make some inroads there, and of course the EU as well. Most of those northwestern countries are all very much in our eyesight. So absolutely, kind of going from 12 months ago not really being on a shelf to 12 months later having our product in places like Hong Kong and Dubai and all these places. It's surreal to see. It's absolutely brilliant. But you've hit the nail on the head. That is a big push with this next round of investment. Is pea milk's kind of new to the world, and we know it's a bit of a land grab right now with some other pea milk brands. So we're absolutely right on our front foot with that, making sure that we secure that distribution.
Great. And looking ahead, what would you say is the long-term vision of the company?
Other than world domination, the long-term vision of the company is we've always said from day one with Mighty that we want to offer the plant-based equivalent for mainstream options. So anything you can get that uses animal product, we want to offer an equally good product from nutrition and a sustainability standpoint as is given with an animal product. So that is our aim. Over the next 12 months, it's very much about the UK, the EU, expanding our distribution, being in more stores, more availability. We have a lot of new products as well in our pipeline, which I can't quite announce yet, but I'm very, very excited when they come out. I think they're going to be really, really special because we've been to hell and back to try and make them work. And it's just about growing the brand. It's about most importantly with our brand in particular, educating people. We've just had a survey come back from around 2,000 people. 75% of them haven't yet tried pea milk. There's a huge audience for us to be going after that we've not yet engaged with, because that people aren't as familiar with pea milk as oats obviously come to the forefront and people were familiar with almond. But the next 12 to 18 months is, we're planning for that to be pea milk's time to shine.
Yeah. So I guess it will be a lot about education for the market and driving that awareness. And I wish you the best of luck with it. I think what you've done so far is amazing in such a short period of time.
Thanks so much, and thank you so much for chatting with me and coming to see my home office as well.
No worries. Thank you very much. And if you want to hear from more companies, great companies like Mighty Pea, please do subscribe and comment. Other than that, thank you very much, Tom, and hope to see more from you.
Cheers, Anand. Thanks.
Okay, take care.
Bye.
Bye.